Hey guys, so I wanted to show you how to change the body copy for type trials so that you can select a good text face for your booklet. So we're going to pick up where the last video left off. You can see I've already got my master pages set up and I'm about ready to dump some text into my threaded text box. So here we go. It'll take a second, and just like last time, it will flow all the text out to the appropriate number of pages. And one thing I want to show you guys how to do now, it's not going to do much, but so obviously this added the appropriate amount of pages, but let's say that for some reason your text ends up being um, through a typeface selection, maybe it's got a condensed face and it only ends up being 16 pages, you'll have 14 blank pages at the end of your document that you'll have to manually delete. Which is kind of a pain in the ass. And so to fix that, what you want to do is go up to InDesign, Preferences, and select Type. And then what you want to do is come down here to the Smart Text Reflow and click Delete Empty Pages. And what that is going to do is dynamically remove any empty pages at the end of the document so that you don't have to worry about those showing up in the printing process, potentially costing you more money. So once that's selected, the next thing you need to do is open up the Paragraph Styles palette. Now there's a couple ways to do that. It's over here, depending on the workspace you have. If you've selected typography, it'll be over here. You can also go to Window, Styles, Paragraph Styles. You can see the shortcut for it is right here, Command F11. But it'll pull up the Paragraph Styles palette, and you're going to need to make a new paragraph style. And again, there's a couple ways you can do that. From the drop down, you can simply hit New Paragraph Style, or down here, you can hit Create New Style. Now, if you use this version, you can see it creates one, but it really doesn't do anything. It just pops up in the flow of things. You'll have to double click on it to get to the paragraph style options portion. So we're going to give this a name. We'll name our style body copy. And we'll discuss this when we start adding master page elements, but basically styles can be cascading style sheets or CSS, so that if you base this style on another style, any non-selected elements will flow right through to the children's styles. Again, we'll talk more about that in class, but be aware that that is where this takes place. So we're going to select basic character formats. There's, as you can see, tons of options, many of which we'll be accessing later. But for right now, let's just focus on the basic character formats. So within this option box, you can select a few things. The font family, we can choose, I'm going to go with Merriweather. But this is where you essentially try out different typefaces. You can select the font style, so maybe we want it all in bold or italic or medium or whatever options it has. The other thing you can control from here is the size. And for our purposes, because this is going to be printed out, of course we're going to verify by actually printing, but a good place to start is 10/12. You can decide after you print out a version whether it's too small or too big, or maybe the leading needs to be increased for legibility's sake. But 10/12 is pretty common and a good place to start. So once we've got those set, we're going to click OK. And remember that you can always access those options by double clicking on it. So we now have our text. It's all here. We're going to select all the text. There's a couple ways, again, you can do that. With the direct select tool, you can double click on it. You can see how the cursor rolls over to type. You can also select the type tool and click in the box. In any case, you want to select all the type, so you hit Command A. And then over here, you want to apply the style that you just created to all the body copy. And to apply a style to selected text, you hold down Option and click on it. And you can see it changed from Myriad Pro, I believe, or maybe it was Minion Pro, to Merriweather in the correct size and kerning tables that we set. So that is the first step. So if you wanted to change, for instance, if you want to print this out and you're like, I don't really like Merriweather, you can simply go in here, click on this, maybe we want to try it in Mistral. There it is in Mistral. It will change everything that you've applied this body copy style to, and only to that. Let's undo that because Mistral would be painful to read. The other thing I want to show you guys how to do as per the blog post is to use the find and change dialog box. So you guys are familiar with the find font. That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about, and you can access it through hitting Command F, is find and change. You can also access it by going up here into Edit and Find Change. In any case, there's a couple different things that you can do with this tool. You can find, maybe you want to find the word design. You can see it'll find you every instance of the word design. You could, for instance, find all those and you could change it all to, maybe you want to spell it in all uppercase. You could hit change all and it would change any instance of the word design into all uppercase. What we want it for is finding more, I don't know, more specific things like not just words, but you can also use it through the grep styling to find instances of, you can find ellipses, you can find close brace character, you can find any digit, you can find quotation marks. What we want to do is find all double spaces, and this is expressed through a grep command. And there's a link on the blog to what a grep command actually is. But basically you were searching for specific text instances and throughout the whole document. So oftentimes when you import a Word document from somebody else, they will use a double space, as you can see here, to separate paragraphs and to separate titles. However, that is problematic for what we're doing. We're designers and we want to control all those different instances. And so we want to find them and remove them. So through this command, and again it's listed on the blog, we're looking for all double spaces. And we want to replace them with a single return. So we're going to click find. You can see it'll jump from instance to instance. I'm aware of where they all are. I've already searched the document. Sometimes you'll want to do a blanket swap and replace. Sometimes you want to do it manually, and we could, of course, do it manually. However, there's only 3, and we want to just get rid of them all. So I'm going to hit change all. And you can see that it got rid of those spaces. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go back into body copy. And again, I mentioned there's lots and lots of different options, one of which is the indents and spacing. A full leaded line is probably too much, and again we'll talk about this in class, but there are many ways to separate paragraphs. For our purposes, we're going to do a half leaded line, which, because we're running at 10/12, a half leaded line would be 6 points. And I'm going to click OK, and you can see it just added, anywhere we hit return, it added a half leaded line between there. You can experiment with this as well when you're doing these type trials. Maybe we like 3/4 of a leaded line or 2/3 of a leaded line. And again, you're really only going to be able to test this by printing, but this is where you do it. The other thing I want to talk about is adding master page elements. On the blog you can see we're going to need to add running head and folios. Folios are a fancy name for page numbers, and because it's going to exist on every page, we want to handle it through the master page document. So we're going to go up here into the master page, and we are going to, I'm going to turn the grid on, and I'm going to make a text box that I want to represent the folios. Maybe it goes right here. And I'm going to go type, insert special character, markers, current page number. And there is the placeholder A. And you can see when we go down here, it's page 1, 3, 5, 7, etc. So that is the placeholder for all page numbers. And if you remove pages, if you delete sections 8 and 9, it will dynamically add those and reformat them to be correct. I want to add the same page number over on this side, and I want to do it, in the same place. Now, if you hold down Option while you're clicking and dragging, it will make a copy. It's a little tip. However, you can see the justification is different. There are problems with that. We're going to return to paragraph style, and we are going to create a new style. We're going to put, we'll name this folio recto. So the right hand page number. We're going to click in here, and maybe through the Type Mule we selected a different typeface for our folios. Maybe it is Fructer, and we want it in a 8-point, and we want it over 10. And on indents and spacing, on this one we want a left alignment. So we're going to click OK. Remember, we're going to Option click, or sorry, we're going to select this and then Option click, and it is going to apply that to the folio down here. Now, the problem with this is that we want this, if we were to apply the same folio recto, it's left justified. So what we're going to do is select a new style. We'll name it folio verso. And you can see it's based on folio recto. So what that means is all the same characteristics are going to be the same. And if we change something on folio recto, it is going to spill over into this one. And I'll show you what I mean in just a second. But for right now, we want to change the alignment to the right. So we're going to go back to document view. We're going to turn off grids so we can see things a little better and maybe zoom in a bit. So there it is, it's on both sides. Maybe though, I don't really like Fructer, and that wasn't a good choice. I'm going to go to folio recto, and I will change it to Futura. We'll say condensed medium, and I'm going to click OK. And you can see, even though I didn't touch folio verso, because folio verso is based on folio recto, it changed the typeface as well. So it cascades down to any of the themes it's based on. The final thing I want to make notice of is how to look at things by going into preview mode. If you hold down Shift W, it'll jump into preview mode. And this, although it's not going to be as precise as what it looks like when you've printed it, it is going to give you a better idea of the relationship of the page to the margins and the folios to the margins, all those sort of things. So Shift W will put you in that, and you can hit Shift W to get you out of it, or you can simply hit Escape. So that'll give you a better idea of what it's going to look like on the page. The other thing you can also hit is simply W, and you can see by hitting W it will gray out the screen and get rid of, if guides are on for instance, it'll turn all those non-printing elements off. Again, just to give you a better idea of how things are lining up. Maybe we need to adjust the justification because this is a weird rag, or maybe we need to bump this in or out, but we can't really tell when there's this many elements on the page. So hitting shift is a quick intermediary way to view things between this and actually printing. That's it. Hope it helps, and I'll see you in class.